Well, I'm following my company and myself. And
So you went on to Google, right? Google.com,
really
Google.com/alerts or something like that.
It's alerts.google.com, and you basically say what subject or keywords or what do you want to follow, be alerted to when they come up on the internet, and then it'll send you an email, and you can tell it daily or weekly or whatever. As far as everyone should do that for themselves and for their business.
Drops it right in your inbox,
right?
And you can tell it, I want to see mentions of me in blogs or news, or categorize it. And usually, if it's you or your company, you just say everything. I want to know everything about about what they're saying about me. But yeah, nice, free, and then you can go check it on your own time, right? It's in your inbox, and you see a Google alert, and you want to go do this. We do this for my wife's accounting business, right? We figured out the words that people go blog about stuff when they're looking for her services. And so so once a day we get this thing, and it's a business development opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing that with every single one of our products, so that we can see what the competition's doing and what people are saying about the product and what they want out there.
And why don't you tell us what that product is, please?
We request to know everything that comes out about the Glencairn glass. Is one of the products that we have, a single malt Scotch whiskey glass. And Heather Gems is a line of Scottish jewelry that we sell, and that we're very interested in finding out what's going on out there about.
And what's the name of the company?
Ours is Coffee Celtique.
Coffee Celtique. All right. So
our last name in Gaelic.
Coffee, right? It's spelled like in a Celtic thing. And I got to spend an hour with these guys earlier this month, and there's a lot of cutthroat competition in Celtic glassmaking. It's phenomenal. There was a hand up over here, I think, wasn't it? Yeah.
No, I just want to say that if you don't want your inbox filling up with your Google alerts, you can also use a reader.
Reader, right.
Google Reader or something.
Right. Or you can personalize your homepage, right? iGoogle.com is one of my favorite tools. I've gone there and said, I want to follow this blog and all my fantasy football news over here, and so you can compartmentalize all that stuff. Candy's brought up something that I want to, about a two-way conversation. Who has had, just by a show of hands here, somebody else make a comment online about your business? Quite a few of us. How do you see your hands again so I can figure out somebody to call. All right. Bill, I heard your party was pretty swinging last night. I didn't know if we'd have you.
Well, I'm a little I'm a little soft this morning.
All right. Well, I'm going to call you. It's kind of the reason I was looking to call you out.
It was. So you want a response to what we do when we hear about us?
So
online?
Let's say, do you respond to comments?
Always.
Always. Okay. And that's my next question: is with what frequency? How quickly do you respond?
We try to do it as quickly as we can. Sometimes within
Bill
minutes.
is GQ Barber Lounge. All right.
Yes.
And how do you describe your business?
Personal branding for men.
Personal branding for men.
Yes.
Okay. Do I look good up here, Bill?
I'm sorry?
Do I look good today?
You look awesome.
I'm a GQ customer. So yeah,
yes, you are. Yes,
I
you are.
waited for the clearance. But do you have someone whose job it is to monitor that?
Full time.
Full time.
So we have someone listening pretty much 12 hours a day.
Okay.
And Andrea responds generally within an hour. She's got Facebook and Twitter up all the time.
Do you have a system by which you respond to positive comments?
Positive and negative, yes.
Okay. And how do you here's the easy question. How do you respond to positive comments?
Well, we thank them, and we try to make it about them, and we try to just let them know that we really appreciate their interest. And whatever it is they said, it's not canned, so it's highly personalized. We want them to know that we know who they are. We know it's you, Mike, and so we try to let you and everyone else know that we know you when we respond to you.
How do you do that?
We personalize it with something that we know about you in the comment.
Do you go back into your CRM database and look and see what it is about what you know about this customer, and then?
If we have to, but generally we know who you are.
Okay, all right, but you've got the ability, all right. You've got data, all right, to support you, all right.
Yeah.
Well, it's not just me that goes on in comments, okay?
Yeah, you're. Yeah. I don't know how to respond to that, Mike.
I would hope my hair would be a lot blacker if I was dyeing it. So,
but I have to.
I'm a lot more concerned about the lack of it than I am about the color of it.
We have something for that. But
I'm aware. You're selling it to me right now.
The other thing is that this sounds so so stupid to say, but we really like negative comments because, well, that's just stupid to say, but when we get negative comments, it's an opportunity to say, you know what, we're human and sometimes we screw up, and you know, we're sorry and we'll fix it, and we're human, and it's really an opportunity to turn somebody that didn't like us or something that we did into a raving fan.
Excellent feedback there. All right, and that's where I was going to go next, is how do you respond to a negative comment online? I mean, because we do run into small businesses usually, all right, but not just that. People who say, we have a relationship with Swingle, and we do a ton of stuff for Swingle Laundry and Landscape Care. That relationship started when they walked into our office 2 years ago and said, we got 2 negative comments on Yelp, what do we do about it? And my response was, what would you do if they wrote you a letter or called you or walked into your office and said something negative? And they said, well, we'd take ownership of the problem. We'd thank you for their feedback, and we'd go take it. We'd take care of it, whatever was reasonable to maintain a relationship with that customer. I said, okay, that's exactly what we're going to do on Yelp. You know? So there's a tendency, maybe it's too strong a word. There's an opportunity to go argue with your customer online. You really can't do that. Okay, I mean, and why wouldn't we want to do that? What's the negative consequence? Let's say you win the argument. You know? Jim?
Bill's doing it so smart with someone who's dedicated to doing that. One of the places where businesses get in trouble is actually employees who rush to defend the company.
Yep.
And will debate the customer, and they're digging a deeper hole. So, you know, in telling people, say, let your supervisor know that you saw this negative comment and let us respond to it appropriately. That's not your job to defend us.
Right, and Jim isn't a lawyer, for those of you who don't. We are, I'm going to check my time here. I want to make sure we cover stuff. We're doing okay. We got a little more time here. Want to make sure, Penny?
Well, I was thinking, you know how they say if you have an unhappy customer, they're going to tell at least 10 people?
Yep.
Well, now it's like multiplied tenfold. I mean,
At least, right? And it used to be happy
it doesn't
people
pay to
tell
argue.
7 people, and unhappy people tell 30. Now it's more like 30,000, and it happens instantly, right? Because we're all connected to everybody constantly. Let's go back here.
What if you have a customer that you feel is purposely doing a negative comment, and that you know in your heart that you really can't make them happy?
Who's dealt with that? Who's dealt with a customer who can't? The National Guard has a customer like that? Well, this ought to be good. Let's go back over here. So yeah, are you dealing with it? I mean, peacefully or?
As well as we can. What happened is someone joined the Colorado National Guard and then got out of the Colorado National Guard. No big deal. But somehow a couple of years later, she was informed that she owed the National Guard a bunch of money for some equipment. Sure. Sorry. Okay, so she joined the National Guard, got out. A few years later, was told that she owed the National Guard money for equipment that she had turned in. A couple $1,000s, and it's affecting her credit rating. That's a pretty unhappy customer, and we don't blame her. We're in the situation where we're not in a position to be able to do anything about it, and the legal has decided they can't do anything about it. And so she's coming back and saying, the National Guard is a horrible idea. Don't do it. Don't do it. Fortunately, we don't have that many people engaged right now. But if we did, that could be a PR nightmare.
It's out there forever now,
Exactly.
Right? I mean,
Exactly.
These things don't go away. Now they're out there. Whatever's out there is there for everybody to see forever. So even if we're a delayed response, we need to respond, right?
Exactly.
All right. Now, this is a case where I like what Bill had to say. What we coach people is thank you, right? Positive or negative, thank you is the first thing, right, for letting us know and for engaging in this. So that's a toughie. But I'll tell you, who else has an example about how they've dealt with it? Anybody have a customer who's just got an axe to grind and isn't going away, and there's no real opportunity for resolution?
I got another question.
Well, then let's come back to you in just a second here. We've got a few more minutes. Bill, have you had this?
We haven't had
I'll come back to you.
If you have someone that has that axe to grind, it becomes very clear to everyone else when they're just continuing to beat on you, and you've thanked them, you've acknowledged it, you've taken accountability, and they just won't let it go. They show their colors.
I would tend to agree. Let's go right in front of you.
And another thing that you can do is bring the conversation offline. So say, I'd love to speak with you. Here's my phone number.
Yep.
Here's my email address.
That's
Contact
right.
me.
Right, and sign so-and-such president of company, right? So you can escalate it to a degree where it shows everybody that you care. I wanted to, you know, and this may not be a customer. We've had it happen to where it's competitors going on and leaving these comments. Now, in that case, we have actually gone on and successfully gotten comments removed. You can't just go to Yelp and City Search at all and say, we don't like that comment, remove it. But there are situations, there are circumstances under which you can do this. They're interested in legitimate comments from people. But in a case where the commentor is using terms that only an industry insider would know, right? Where if you're selling mattresses, reasonably, right? What's inside of your mattress? Right, see, I mean, none of us know, right? So, right, it's not something you think about, right? Anyway, I mean, so there are terms being used. You can look and say, well, see, this comment was left, this identical copy and paste comment was left on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different sites. It is the only comment that this person has left on any of these sites, all right? And you can bring that to their attention. You got at least a 50% shot of actually not having to deal with that because it's a no-win, right? I mean, that's a situation where you're dealing with a competitor. Their motives are not pure and honest. They don't want resolution. They're after something else. Yes, sir.
My comment was, and now we're back on track. My comment was more like, you know, when things start to become personal, you know, I think there's probably a certain point when you shouldn't carry it out on social media, just like the lady over there said. But I don't, you know, it depends, I think, what that level is depending upon your business. And because then you start divulging maybe personal details about someone or a situation that maybe shouldn't be divulged in social media. So I agree with the...
Yep. Okay. Pat, you're going to get a little exercise? We've got a hand up over here. Usually it's me running the microphone around, but I just got to do it today. So, Patrick's stepping up.
I just want to say quickly, I think it's also very important to address those as quickly as possible, the negative comments. I do consulting in the education field, and there's a very well-organized site called uopsucks.com because nobody addressed unsatisfied students immediately, and it built. It aggregated like a snowball. People don't spread that quickly with the positive, unfortunately, as they do with the negative. And if you ignore it, it's only going to get bigger in some cases. Those unsatisfied people will attract others and be very aggressively doing so because they're more fueled by the fact that they're being ignored on top of being dissatisfied to begin with.
Right, right, right. But to find out and respond later is better than not responding at all, right? Because time keeps going and the stuff doesn't go away. Candy's going to let you have the last comment, then we're going to break with the tips groups.
As a manager of several social media accounts, I link them all to my phone. So if my phone goes off at 3 o'clock in the morning with something, I'm on it right away, addressing that issue.
This explains your lack of sleep deal.
Yeah, exactly. What's
Okay.
that? I'm sorry? No, nope.
All right.
I don't know. It might be a personality thing. I have to be on it right away. But I think that's the PR pro in me.
I'm older than Candy's, so my deal is about setting expectations, right? I mean, like with any of your clients, it's got to be this way with social media. My take on it is, sorry about that deal, we have limited bandwidth, all right? And we've got, especially for small business owners, right? We wear a lot of hats, and you've got to manage those effectively. So if you set the expectation early that you're going to respond on Saturday morning, that you're going to be up at 3 in the morning responding, well, that's what I'm going to expect now. So just like, you know, just like with email, all right? Look, I mean, if you have something urgent, important to me, I'm really expecting you're going to call me, right, or stand in front of my desk and say, we got to talk about this now. If it's an email, if it's a social media deal, I'm thinking that like it's a note, right? And the next time I get around, you know, to this, when my schedule says, okay, now's when Mike checks email, that's when Mike will deal with it, you know, for the most part. Okay, Mark, I said Candy's got the last comment, but I did tell you that you had a story that I wanted to call out. So let's ask your question and make your comment, and then let's go to tips groups.